Good morning, everybody. Welcome here at this session of Content Reigns Supreme. I'm very glad to host Ivan Colecchia, Senior Vice President, Global Business Development at Kidz Global. And in this session, we will talk about multimedia and the digital trends for the children's audience. Kidz Global, it's really a big research agency set in Europe and US, and they cover the main countries where licensing is as a relevant development. In this case, in particular, even we will share with us some interesting data and analytics on the Italian territory. So, Ivan, you are really welcome to this session, and thanks for sharing with us your research. Thanks.
Thank you, Christina, for hosting me. It's a pleasure. Hello to everybody. It's a pleasure for me to be here at this session at Bologna Fair. We are talking about what's going on in the world in this period. Actually, kids have faced a new world in the latest, let's say, 14 months. Let's just go through what's going on lately in the market and in the kids' life mostly. I'm going to share my desk.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. So basically, we're going through what's happened in the latest 14 months for mostly the Italian market, but I can tell you that due to pandemic situation, kids' life has changed dramatically everywhere in the world. Let's focus on the Italian market, but we can enlarge this also to any other countries in Europe and also in the rest of the world. Few words on us. Who is Kidz Global? We are a worldwide company present in 41 countries, and we mostly deliver anything that you need to know about kids, youth, and families to create really winning strategies for current and future markets anywhere in the world, since we cover over 40 markets around the world. But we provide anything from shelf trend report, answering to all the questions about why, what, where, when, and how, to bespoke research, and to consulting. So we do cover 360 degrees all the areas of consulting on the kids and family worlds. We are global. Since the world for kids is far more complex than a year ago, kids have new needs, and they really research diverse sources of entertainment. So far, they have many more activities. They have many more solicitation from everywhere. So we really now investigate which is their kids' way of life, their daily life every day, and their weekly activities. We also investigate in their consumption habits, in TV, new technologies, recreational times, activities, food, anything really. What's really important, how this impact on the business and on the opportunities for brands, because at the end of the day, we are here because all the brands have interest in what is the kids' life and the kids' activities so far. We are looking at the market. The survey is built on the Italian sample, so it's representative, it's nationwide representative. We interview over 1,250 kids between 3 and 14 years old, and we almost split the sample 50% among boys and girls. Let's start from their activity. Daily routine is an important word. Because the daily routine, the weekly daily routine has dramatically changed for the Italian kids so far. We will see going through the data how the pandemic has impacted on their life. We know that due to lockdown, school has had a big impact on that. But maybe what I have as a perception is a bit underestimated in reality from what is going on. So kids' life, due to this, are really more complex and diverse around and beyond the world of entertainment. So we need to understand how entertainment has supplied new source of information for them, new source of keeping them active during this lockdown. Let's start from the activity. What this chart talks about is basically the share of awake time in the full week for the Italian kids 3 to 14, 2 to 14. And the data is quite recent because we are talking about December 2020. In December 2020, we were in a partial lockdown, but part of the kids were going to school. How this has impacted? If you look at the split, schooling was going down to 20% from what? Only 2 years ago was 34% of their active time. It means that 14% of their active time was taken out and dedicated to additional activity because they were almost dedicated to others since they were locked down and most of the kids were out of school and were doing homeschooling for some, but most of them were not even doing schooling. This has given, from a side, more free time to them, but from the other side, a huge decrease on the hours spent on schooling. And this is the only element that has decreased so far. I remind you, we were 2 years ago, 34% of their active time invested in schooling. In December, it was just 20%. So in terms of hours, what are we talking about? So when we're talking about the timing, the free time dedicated to them, what are we saying? We're saying that 2 years ago, they had something like 37 hours involved in free time. Now we are talking about 48 hours in free activity. It means 60% of their active hours invested in anything that is free time. So more free time, more time to spend on new activity. And let's look about what is this represent. Basically, most of their time was invested in watching TV, 28% of their time, playing with video games, using a tablet, using mobile phone, listen to the music, and use a computer. But what surprise is that if we look at among the timing and how it is spent, we see that there's not much difference in terms of digital entertainment time spent. The element that has increased more is playing. Playing was just before 5%, now has become 16% of their active time. So which almost represent 10 to 12 hours more per week of free time dedicated to playing compared to what was before. Since we don't see much difference among all the other elements, hanging out is almost the same. Others, which means reading or going out for shopping, is almost the same. Even though being locked down, you didn't have much time to go out and do shopping. The only element that take out the time from school basically was playing. So more time dedicated to playing. And playing was not just toys. Play was also playing time or spending time on any digital devices. And there's no difference in terms of age groups. So as you can see, if we break down the 3 to 14, we see that exactly we have the same amount of time in all the age groups. They spend the same activities and same time, 3 to 6 versus 7 to 9 versus 10 to 14. The only difference is that 10 to 14 may tend, and 7 to 9 may tend to spend a little bit more time on schooling. But as you can see from the bars, there's not much difference so far. So we said a lot of time spent on kids and digital. So a lot of time spent on digital activities. What are these digital activities? And mostly, which are the digital device that they mostly use? We break down in ages, and as you can see, younger kids, so preschoolers, they spend more time on tablet and computer because parents are more relaxed in leaving them with these kind of devices. Even though, as you can see from the percentage, they spend 15% of them spend time anyway on mobile phone. The more they grow up, the more they use the mobile phone, the more they prefer it. And in fact, you see that over 58% of the teenagers are using either mobile phone or computer, which means they spend much less time on TV. TV is almost same everywhere, but compared to the time spent on mobile is much less, and is completely replaced by other devices. But which is the activity they do? It's not exactly the same for all the age. I highlighted in colors the one that are more relevant. So as you can see, the preschoolers are spending more time on watching videos and movies. Everywhere, actually. And that is also true for the kids a bit older, for the 7 to 9. So you can see that both of them are spending more than 20% of their time on watching videos and movies. The second one is playing games. So playing games accounts a lot for those kind of kids. When you get up and you grow up in terms of ages, the more you go up and the more you access the internet. So for you, it's more important to be over the internet and chatting with friends. If you look at the percentage we chatted with friends, you have 18% of them spending time mostly on chatting with friends. But which are the favorite and preferred apps for them? There are different between tablet and mobile phone. The kind of app mostly, as you can see, is game for fun, social network, and educational games. And what they mostly downloaded anywhere for both kind of devices is TikTok. TikTok and YouTube and games are the three most used the apps downloaded over the devices. As you can see from the chart here, TikTok is everywhere. It's even #1 on mobile. So if you would rather go on TikTok using the mobile versus the tablet, but even on the tablet, which is for younger, that's one of the reasons why they use less. But in any case, even younger, they spend time on TikTok, even though it shouldn't be allowed because of the age. But regardless, they do anyway spend time on TikTok. And going into the activity, in the single activity, you see which difference there is between ages. So on the social networks, the more they grow up, the more they spend time. Look at the percentage of kids from 10 years and above, they spend on WhatsApp. 78% of them is using WhatsApp, but which is really impacting so far. 39% of them are using TikTok, but they are multi-user. They use at least 4.5 apps each. The more they grow up, the more they spend time on the mobile, the more they use several apps. And you see that mostly use YouTube, mostly use Instagram. Also, they still use Facebook, even though Facebook is more considered for elder people rather than for teenagers, while they do prefer spend time on TikTok. But so far at the time, there's not big difference among them. But WhatsApp has become the #1 communication tool for kids overall. And at the same time, almost all the Italian kids watch YouTube. 94% of the kids is watching YouTube so far. They don't subscribe to many. I mean, only I would say 41% is subscribing to YouTube channels. So the fact that you're surfing on YouTube doesn't mean that then you subscribe to someone. And in terms of celebrities on the Italian market, the #1 are Me Contro Te, which is the most favorite show so far. And Louis and Sophia are the two players in Me Contro Te. So are the two characters who are a couple of guys, really famous in Italy, playing this show, even though there are many Me Too shows coming up on the market, on the YouTube. One of those could be D'Insieme, which lately has become more and more relevant in the market. At the same time, you have influencers like Fedez, like 5EJ, Ciccio Game for gaming, Ronaldo for soccer. So, but at the same time, you see there are many people that are surfed and watched over YouTube. So, which is the main perception that you get from this picture? Is that is extremely spread market. You don't have few players monopolizing the YouTube channels, but you have so many people there that are present on our child screen that you can absolutely understand that when then you're going to use one of these players, one of these influencers for business, it's very important to understand which is your target and which kind of brand you want join your brand with the influencer in order to harmonize and have consistency across image. As I said, many kids are watching YouTube. We just focalize now on 7 to 14. The most requested activity is videos, but as you can see, it's almost spread around all the activities. So they also loved watching videos about certain games. So watching kids playing games is one of the main activities. And they do it, as you can see, several times a day. Daily. So over 1/3 of them is watching them every day, daily. So the majority of them is watching music videos and games video every day and several times a day. But if the large part of content is pushed by YouTube itself, half of the kids anyway is searching for spontaneously for the content. So over 51% of the kids is searching specifically a kind of content they want to watch. So this means that when you are going to do advertising on YouTube, it's better to focus on what mostly kids is searching for, because that's really important in terms of advertising. So if you want a good reception of your message, you better go with what is most requested everywhere. And we're going to the end of the analysis. Let's focus a little bit on television screen. We have seen that television, as I was mentioning before, is not the key topic compared to the other activity. If we look at, for instance, all the devices, you see that the number 3 most owned electronic devices by children are mobile phone and smartphone, iPad or other tablet, and notebook. Smart TV comes fourth and is just 14%. Owned by children means that they own it. It's not shared within the family. We are just talking about the one that is owned by the child itself. And at the same time, you see that the console are much more spread than notebook or smart TV itself. It is interesting to see at the same time is that if you look at the wish of what the parents would mostly likely acquire for their children, you see that the percentage is much lower. This means that their willingness to buy a device is lower than the reality. So they aim to buy less, a mobile phone, a tablet, a console, but then in the reality, at the end of the day, they do buy much more. So to wrap up, basically we have seen that kids have spent a lot of time in-house in activities that are not anymore studying, but it's more leisure. So, and this leisure is more related to content. And most of the content goes through social media and YouTube. So the new way to reach them at the moment with any content you want to supply to them, could be book, could be entertainment, could be cartoon, could be licensing, anything should go through this kind of devices.
According to you, Ivan, at this stage, a brand owner, has its own TV series to be broadcast on a TV channel. It can be in Italy, in France, wherever. We know that YouTube trends is a trend all over Europe, all over the world. Which should be the content, according to you, it should spread on YouTube? It would be different from, it will be on TV, it would be the same. According to you, just your suggestion as an expert of the industry.
The trend so far in the last years have been a multi-platform approach. So you cannot simply duplicating the content as it has. For some you can. For instance, you can take a series that you normally broadcast on TV and broadcast the same on YouTube, but then you need to supply something different. I keep saying this since years, you have to drive the kids into a journey, a multi-platform experience. So it has to be something related to TV, but at the same time, since they are not anymore much on TV, but they are on gaming, they are on the console, they are on a tablet, they are on YouTube, they are on the mobile phone, you have to supply a different kind of content with the same thing as a basic. So a character, an influencer, a show, anything. It has to follow the same kind of path, but so different way of providing the same content or the same character, but the discipline has to go through multi-platform. It can't be just one, or it can't just be duplicated to another channel, because it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Another question for you. I see that also Twitch is becoming more and more popular for children. So in the very next future, we'll say now, also today, brands have Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. So, and Snapchat, so much. So according to you, again, as an expert, brands should attack their target through all the platforms or focus on those that really go to dialogue with their specific target?
As always, it depends which target you are talking to. I mean, on Twitch, Twitch has a new platform which is raising up big time, but it's not just for kids. It's covering several activities. It's covering, I would say, a wider age group that goes from kids, but gets young adults, millennials. So it's really wide. And it depends the content you're supplying. So if you want to, let's say, have something for young adults, maybe Facebook is not anymore the place where you should focus more, but maybe Twitch is one of the platform if your content is related to gaming. Or also now Twitch, many influencers are using just to make comments about their gaming activity or their watching show. There are many influencers that watch shows over the TV and that on live on Twitch. They are doing comments, they are doing jokes on the show they're watching. So they are involving the viewers in the activity in order, as I was saying before, to make a wider experience on what they just saw before. So from my point of view, as we were saying, you have to keep in a journey your target, which could be kids, could be young adults, anything, adults, anything. You have to drive them through all these platforms. So what works more? You broadcast a show, that could be anything, even a dating show. But then after the show goes on, you have some influencer that are just commenting the show, the episode they just watched. And maybe during the commenting activity, they do advertise something, some products or some tools or anything related to the brand. So it's much wider now, the way you can do advertising and the why you use influencers for your products. So depends always on the target. If the target is consistent with the product that you're supplying, then you need to use a consistent platform where you will reach the highest number of people.
Yeah, and you said about influencers. In fact, nowadays, it's not only a matter of a brand owner to spread its own content, but many times is to build new content with those who are somehow ambassadors for a certain target and to catch their attention as it could be really worthy for a brand to boost his consumer products properly. So, Ivan, I really thank you so much. I know that we will meet again in May 11 for a live session that will be
here ready.
Yes, about brands in Europe. So thank you so much for this session. And as for the other beloved guest, I really wish to meet you again in person very soon in Bologna next year.
We hope so. We really hope so. It's a willingness for all of us working in this market. I really thank you. I really thank Bologna Fair, and I hope to see you very soon and for sure on May 11. Thank you, Cristina.
Thank you. Thank you, Ivan.